Hi guys, welcome back to our video again. In this video, we will be test riding this new ADV160. So we'll be test riding this ADV160, which is the successor of the 150. So first thing, we look at the exterior of the bike. Basically, other than the color scheme that is slightly different, now it's matte as you can see here. And the outlook and the design looks pretty much the same. So of course it has this new HSTC function sticker that we'll be trying out later. You still get that adjustable screen with that pull lock thing. So we will try it down while we are riding in the city, and then when we want to move to the highway, then we just move it out. We will check out how easy it is to be done when we are in the rider's seat. So you still get your LED lights. Your ABS and everything is still there. Nothing much changed. I mean, in terms of design wise, it looks pretty much the same to me. And of course, it has the ESP Plus, similar to the P6160. So you still have that one side glove box only. Then the control all stays the same: high beam, low beam, left, right, ignition. So the seat storage looks pretty much similar. One helmet and then some other stuff. Your toolbox underneath the seat. The rear end also looks pretty much the same with the hand grip. Okay, but here say it's slightly wider, so not too sure, but looks the same to us. So we will put our phone here. It's doing the recording, so we put our phone here in the glove box, and then let us hop on and see what's the difference. So once we hopped on, the height is pretty much the same. The buttons are all the same. So your high beam, low beam, your signal, your horn, your start stop technology on off, and then your hazard light, and then your ignition switch. Turning on the dash. So powering up, press, and then turn on the dash. So the dash has some changes here as compared to before. You will have the traction control, and the layout is slightly different. I think it's much cleaner now because they have all the key information here. Then you have this toggle button where you can do trip A, trip B and stuff. Okay, so we will reset one of the trip. Let's see how to reset. Nope. We reset and then we do a run and then see how fuel efficient it is. I realized that this button control area, you see a hole, probably is for water drainage. Thoughtful design there. So same thing, start for Honda bike only on the rear brake. If you use the front one, it doesn't work somehow. Not too sure why. So let's go. So while it's stationary, you will feel some vibration on the handlebar. You can see here from the IU that's shaking. That's pretty normal for a single cylinder small cc bike. First impression about the seat is pretty hard. So the seat is pretty firm. The suspension setup is pretty firm, I guess. Okay, you will feel every bump that you hit into. Okay, the screen is pretty readable, even under direct sunlight, which is good. I realized something while I was trying to set a time earlier, that it allows a 12-hour clock or a 24-hour clock setup, which is really good. And because of this toggle button, okay, up and down, so it's not a one-way cycle thing. If you overshot by 1 minute or 1 knot, you can actually dial it back. That's a plus. However, if you realize that if you're riding, then this is very hard to control. It's even, I mean, it would be perfect if it's on the, the handlebar. So that's something just nitpick. It's not that you always change the setup. There's no rider mode to it. Honda, being a Honda, the pickup is very linear. So once you twist the throttle, the speed builds up slowly, gradually. So Honda being Honda, they focus much more on rider comfort than performance. I guess that's more realistic, but that will be less exciting, so to say. It's supposed to produce more power because it's now a 4-valve engine instead of a 2, like the one in ADV150. But however, on a day-to-day ride, you don't feel much of a difference. But probably you will feel it when it comes to highway ride, where you require to pick up the pace or bring up to higher speed. The brakes are decent, but the suspension is definitely quite stiff. Okay, for a city scooter where you will be looking at bumps,
And once you start moving, I guess you don't feel the vibration when the bike is in stationary. Now it's buttery smooth. With the throttle and the speed builds up slowly. So no surprise, it's very beginner friendly. It's not stress to ride this bike because when you flip the throttle, it doesn't fly off or it doesn't send you off sliding. Okay, we try to do lane splitting. It's a 2B bike, it's a small bike, so confirm no issue with that. Okay, the brakes are decent, adequate. I mean, there's no upgrade to it, and the power is not like increased significantly, so nothing much to expect from. Okay, I speeded there, quite confusing. Didn't know what the button wants. I can hear that the rear brake is being locked. I'm not sure whether the ABS is activated. And probably this is also a new tyre, so jam up pretty easily. So I always thought that the HSTCS is just a way to prevent the rear wheel from spinning, but I didn't know that it also somehow control the fuel or the throttle response. So now we are trying out by turning off the HSTC, and then I felt that the bike is slightly a little bit more sensitive in terms of throttle control, so not too sure it will improve the pickup, where earlier we mentioned that it's a little bit lagging, is a little bit sleepy kind of linear curve kind of pickup. You can feel it's a little bit torquey on the low end. Okay. Oh. Okay, you will feel a slight difference, but it's not very significant. So I guess most of the time it's still like a placebo effect. So not much of a difference in terms of higher speed pickup. But on the slower one, yes, you feel some. Okay, while waiting, let's try if we can move this up while stationary. Okay, pretty much easy. So if you want to bring it down, so okay, actually on the rider seat is easier than when you are doing at the other end of it. I mean, moving up is easy. Maybe we can try moving down later on. I mean, the windshield on slower pace seems like doesn't have any effect. I still feel that the headwind is blasting onto my chest and to my helmet. I guess not much of a difference. Okay, let's make a U-turn and then to try how nimble it is. I mean, given that all 2B bikes should be able to clear it, and the steering angle for this bike is quite huge also. We will do the U-turn here, so no problem with that. You see, as the steering angle is quite huge, so tight corners or you want to do lane splitting, definitely no problem with that. And the mirrors are quite big. Okay, you see, once you are stationary, you will feel the vibration. You can see the mirror is shaking. But it's still at a very acceptable kind of vibration. Okay, it's 11 plus is pretty hot. So we'll move it to squeezing through. No easy. I mean, we wanted to come to the front and find a shade, but we couldn't find it. It's pretty hot here, right under the afternoon sun. So far, the fuel economy is about 40 kilometers per liter, which is pretty decent for a 2B scooter. Really smooth in terms of picking up, so you don't really need to be paying a lot of attention to holding onto the throttle. If you compare it with a Yamaha scooter, they deliver more power, and I mean, it's more fun to play with, but it's less comfortable to hold it stable. Okay, so now we are entering the highway with about 4,000 RPM at about 50. So we try to move it to the other side of it and see at 90 how does this ADV160 feel. Pretty congested. Not sure why is it a peak hour now. We move in and then we move in. Okay. So it's not good for you to try to accelerate once you come out from the lane, because acceleration is pretty smooth, linear in a good way, but in this kind of situation it's a little bit delayed. Okay, so now we are cruising at 6,000 RPM, 80. Actually, yeah, this screen doesn't serve much of a purpose on higher speed. We try to push it to 90 at about 7,000 RPM, cruising at 90. It feels very light on the expressway. Yes, because it's a 2B scooter, so it should be that way. But I still don't like the real suspension, because on slow compression, you can feel that it's very stiff. On the fast compression, it is still very stiff. If you are those kind who like the hard suspension, then yes, it's something good for you. But if you are looking for a comfort ride, then maybe it's too stiff to my liking. That's all I could say. So we try to push it to a higher speed and see how it performs. You can also see that the fuel efficiency actually increases when you are cruising at higher speed. I mean, keeping pace on the highways in Singapore at 90 kilometers per hour isn't an issue. The bike is pretty comfortable in doing that. Okay, so now we seems like we are picking up pace. So we try to pick up pace and see what will happen. Okay, so it tops out at about that speed. You cannot expect much from a small capacity scooter. And I guess this bike is pretty heavy. So once you are at that speed, you will feel that the bike gets a little bit wobbly because of the small tire and the lightweight. I would say that that is standard what we will be expecting from a lightweight bike or a small wheel scooter. I would say that for the Honda kind of power delivery on a small capacity scooter, it's best not to do lane splitting on an expressway or a highway, because it doesn't have that surge of power if you need it. I would say that the only way you will do lane splitting is where the car is traveling at a much slower pace or at a slower but constant pace, because the bike doesn't have a lot of pickup or acceleration. So if, let's say, suddenly there's a gap or whatnot, or let's say you are presented in a situation where the car suddenly picks up at the rail and you are trying to avoid it, I don't think you have that capacity to do it.
So this is how it looks like when it's all lighted, and this is very personal taste kind of thing. Either you like it or you don't. I'm neutral about it basically. The tire itself is a knobbly tire, a chunky tire, so I guess, or light off-road kind of tire. Of course you can change it to a street tire, no restriction to it. I would say this is not as creepy or not as wet weather focused as a street tire. The passenger foot pack is the same. One thing I noticed is that it's a matte surface, so it sticks to dirt pretty easily. And I guess it's harder to maintain as compared to a glossy surface. Similar to the PCX160, they come with this like a holder, which you can hold your fuel cap while you pump, which wasn't available on the 150 version. So I think it's a very thought out design. And the key has some slight difference. So this one is to on off the key, and I think this is the alarm or the blinker thing, but it's still a 2-button operation. See, yeah. Okay, arm this, and then yes, okay, so this is alarm button. Interesting. So that's something new that wasn't found in the 150. Or probably it's just the version difference, not too sure. Maybe those who know the difference between the AJ and the PI can help us on that. So alright guys, that's all for the review of this ADV160. Hope it's useful to you, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.